What's going on, guys? It's Nick here, back in the video. It's Monday, student time, and it's time for the Mock Draft Monday. We're going to challenge ourselves this week, as requested, a deeper format, so we're going to get into kind of the later rounds a little bit more. 14-team league. So it's going to be very difficult for us to build a good team, but we're going to try and balance things out a little bit. And in deeper formats, I like to do 2 flex spots. I don't know why. I feel like they changed up their setup down here. But I like to do 2 flex spots. So we're going to do 1 quarterback, 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, 2 flex spots. Obviously, no kicker. Let's say 7. I just want to go deep. I want to be really late in the draft, kind of talk about some of these later picks. 7 bench spots here. 1 tight end, 1 defense. I said 1 quarterback before. Also, I want to turn quarterback on to high. Keep rookies on high because we want those to get bumped up. I feel like for quarterback, the computer system just doesn't draft a second one, doesn't draft them super aggressively. I don't want to give us too good of a deal at quarterback. So we're going to turn those 2 on high. We're going to make this as difficult as possible. Full PPR. We'll randomize. I think we did the 2 or the 3 pick last time, maybe 4. 13. Okay, we'll do that one. I feel like that's not going to be an amazing pick for us, but it'll actually lock in. It could lock in 2 pretty good players. Okay, we will also pull up the simulator at times. We have league size 14, full PPR, 2 wide receiver, 2 running back. There's probably, even with 5 million teams that have added in here, there's probably not going to be a crazy amount of data as we move along. You know how many teams I really collected that are 14, full PPR, 2 wide receiver, 2 flex. But to start off, we will see what it's saying. It's saying running back over wide receiver, but those are very clearly, obviously, what we should be doing with the first pick. So that should make sense to us. Okay, first round, wide receivers. Chase, Jefferson, St. Brown, Lamb, Puka, Neighbors, and Brian Thomas Jr. off the board. We've got at running back, Bijan, Achane. Okay. Doesn't really, Achane probably would have actually gone like where we're going, so it's not crazy to see him go, but obviously you're not going to see that. You're going to see Saquon go there. You're going to see Gibbs. You're going to see Gentry. You're going to see those guys go before Achane, but where I am in full PPR is probably where he would have been going, so whatever. We probably wouldn't have drafted him, though, at this pick, so maybe a little value for us. Okay. No quarterback, no tight end this early. Nico Collins is clearly the top wide receiver. I have Nico at 10th overall, so good value. I do have him as the top player on the board, but it's right next to McCaffrey. And actually, so right now he's at 6.02 for value. McCaffrey's at 5.96, but I have a new projection upload where McCaffrey does bump up a little bit that I haven't pushed to the site yet. I'm going to after I record this. So you guys will see it up there. I actually think McCaffrey is going to jump ahead of Nico in that kind of thought process for McCaffrey right now is he's fully healthy right now. When fully healthy, he's like the single most valuable player in fantasy. Ayuk is probably not going to be healthy to start the year. Ayuk probably won't be healthy until like midway through. He might play earlier on, but I don't know that he's going to play in week 1. I don't know if he's going to be healthy for camp. Like, I don't know. You've got a calf injury for Juwan. You've got a hamstring injury for Pearsall. Like, those guys, they're minor injuries. They'll be good to go in camp. But it's like, we're setting up to where, like, what does McCaffrey open the season like a 25% target share? Like, does he open the season just having like 7 receptions per game, like along with 20 carries? And we're like, oh my goodness, he's averaging 25 fantasy points per game, and we're getting him in the late first round of a 14-team league. Like, it feels like one of those picks where it's like, you know, everyone else got to pick a bunch of players. I'm at pick 13. I haven't picked anyone yet. I don't know. It feels like a player that can kind of win you some stuff there. Having said that, you kind of look at ADP here again. If you look overall, this is our quote unquote ADP. If this was like or playing on ESPN, I was looking at this ADP, I would obviously draft Nico, cross my fingers that no one takes McCaffrey at the next pick, and then I can get Nico and McCaffrey, who will be my 10th and 11th overall players at 13 and what would that be? 16. That would be a really, really strong start to the draft. If I took Nico here and I didn't end up with McCaffrey, it would likely, it'd be a guarantee that I'd end up with one of London, A.J. Brown, or Ladd McConkey. And that would be fine. I don't mind, especially in deeper formats, full PPR, I don't mind going RB0. I know it's a quote-unquote risky strategy, but it's also relatively safe in a deeper format, full PPR, just avoiding running back and being like, okay, like I want to avoid a position that is injured at a high rate. I want to make sure I'm locking in players that, you know, I feel very, 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 very confident are going to have strong roles, and just let other teams fall apart. There's going to be injuries at running back. There's going to be busts at running back. Let some teams fall apart. Let some teams have some misses early on. I'm just going to draft a couple wide receivers in a row, and my team, I still have to hit on running back later on, but my team is going to have a rock solid build, and I'm probably going to advance the playoffs. Like teams who draft RB0 in deeper leagues, like they just make the playoffs at a pretty good rate. So that is a thought. You can go with Nico now. Cross-reference from McCaffrey. If you don't get him, you are guaranteed to get one of London, AJ Brown, or Ladd, who are kind of like those top end by a good chunk. I mean, London 244, Ladd 243, AJ Brown 243, both like 243.5 for Ladd and Brown, and then 228 for T. Higgins. You kind of drop down into that tier below. So if I get to lock in two of those players in that top two tier, that's not too bad. And again, that's a consolation prize if I don't end up with McCaffrey. So I think that's the thought process we're going with. We will see how it ends up. So we will take him. We'll look at the draft board. AJ Brown goes. Ladd McConkey goes. So we are sitting here at 16th overall. We can take Drake London or we can take Christian McCaffrey. And again, with everything I just said, there is an insane ceiling for Christian McCaffrey. So we're going to take him. Okay, this is a good start for us. Nico, Christian McCaffrey. After we go, all three of the elite tight ends are off the board, so we're not going tight end. Bowers, McCaffrey, or McBride, and Kittle. Four of the elite quarterbacks off the board. Lamar, Josh Allen, Jaden Daniels, and Jalen Hurts. And then we've got kind of an even mixture of running back and wide receiver. JSN, T, Tyreek, Garrett, Evans, Terry, who's holding out right now, but I think is still going to play the season, obviously. Rasheed and Devonta Smith. And then running back, we've got Bucky, Henry, Kyron, Jacobs, JT, Breece Hall, Chase Brown, and Alvin Kamara. Okay, let's pull up the simulator and let's just kind of tell it what we've done. So we took a wide receiver. It's going to tell us to take running back next. That's what we did. And we will see also on a phone, it's way faster. The simulator, when you run a simulator on a computer, it's not going to be as good as an actual phone. Still saying don't do quarterback, don't do tight end. That makes sense. We're not going to do that. Wide receiver over running back right now, but both very, very beneficial to our team. Okay, so again, after the top three tier break, my general motto is this season, I like Laporta, I like Hawkinson, but I want to get them at a really good value if I do get them. If not, I'm just waiting. I'm waiting really late. I'm just waiting for who falls really far at tight end. And my general strategy at quarterback every year is there's so many great quarterbacks. I want to get one at a significant value because at some point, a quarterback or a tight end will be a great value. And if it never happens, it's because I got great value at other spots. So we're not going to do those two. Top end running backs. Obviously, we like Kenneth Walker. We like James Cook, who has no leverage. He's not going to hold out the season. He's not going to get the contract he wants. I think they will pay him, but he's not going to hold out the season. Joe Mixon. I think we like some of these other backs, but I think they did a pretty good job of putting them into a top tier right there. For wide receiver, of course, Adams, DJ Moore, Marvin Harrison Jr., I would say there's a tier break there as well. I kind of want to see what the tier break is. So Adams, 215 points, 213 for DJ Moore. Marvin Harrison Jr., 224 points. The next projected player, it's not that bad. It's like 5 points. But again, it's because I like Worthy a lot more than Fantasy Pro seems to. We would definitely not take him with this pick, but he kind of goes down here. But there's a drop. There's a drop kind of after those guys, especially from Marv down. I mean, 224. Like we're looking at closer to 15, 16 points difference there in projection. So Marv definitely a strong pick here. At running back, Martin Hampton is actually up here, and that's going to be tough. So we're going to get one of these running backs. I would just feel more hesitant. Like this is a top end wide receiver market here. Like Adams, DJ Moore, Marv. It's just so much better than that group. I would want to make sure I get one of them. If I could get two of them, I wouldn't feel amazing passing on Walker, Cook, and Mixon because that'd be such a good start in a deep format like this is getting 2 and 2 here. But I'd feel pretty confident that if we work our way back, like if I could get one of like Hampton, Henderson, Harvey at that running back 2 spot and be fine with it. I'd even be fine with like someone like David Montgomery there. Yeah, I think that's the way we go. I think we take Marv, force them to take both Adams and DJ Moore. They already have AJ Brown and Ladd, so the likelihood is they won't go 4 wide receivers in a row. But let's take the one, because I do have 9 fantasy point difference. Like, it's a pretty big difference between Marvin Adams. So I wouldn't play the ADP game. I would just take Marvin Harrison Jr. Okay, we grab him. They take James Cook and DJ Moore. So I think we just take Adams with this pick. Again, I think Ken Walker would be the play. He's projected exactly the same as Hampton, but you have that theoretical chance that Hampton would be there at the next pick. If we take Adams, we do technically just leave them more options at running back, right? I want this like Hampton range. If I leave Ken Walker on the board, now we have 6 running backs that are projected to go ahead of Hampton. Maybe he's there. I mean, he probably is not going to be, but I think the team benefits more. We'll see what this says. So we take a wide receiver. I'm guessing it's going to say even it out, take the running back. Yeah, it's saying 10%, 11%, take the running back. Wide receiver not as good, but wide receiver is still perfectly fine to draft at this spot. And I think I want to. I think if this were my hometown league, I would say that value on Adams is too good. I know Adams is going to have a strong season. Obviously, he has a contingent upside if Puka gets hurt, and Puka's had troubles staying healthy throughout his like football career. I think that just makes too much sense to grab. Okay, looks like we're going to be sad. Wow. Hampton goes at 406. So positives and negatives here. We see 2 quarterbacks go. Burrow would have been great for us at 513 here, but Burrow goes at 408. Baker goes at 503. We're probably not going to take a quarterback. Kelsey goes 411. Hockenson goes 414. So we are at 513, and Laporta is still on the board. So we'll consider that. I'll see where I have him in the projections in a second. But the running backs do go. Ken Walker, Hampton, Mixon, Henderson, Harvey, Chuba, and then Connor and Aaron Jones go. So we'll see what's at running back, but it's probably not going to be great. We do see a lot of wide receivers go off the board. Judy, Godwin, Hunter, Sutton, McMillan, and then just a billion in a row. Pickens, Olave, Flowers, Metcalf, Worthy, J-Mo, Waddle, which is good for us because we were definitely leaning away from wide receiver at this pick. And so whenever that happens, you do want to see the run happen. Like when we take quarterback, we're going to want to see quarterback go off the board. So we take that wide receiver. It's now saying, okay, easy. With the wide receivers now, running back is by far the best pick you can make at this spot. Again, we'll see what's available. But tight end also, I don't know if you guys saw, tight end worked its way up to pick 2 here. It's slightly negative, but I think that's going to be good value on Sam Laporta. I have Laporta at 65 overall, and I'm a little bit behind ADP on him. We are at 69 overall, so I have him as a good pick. I don't have any wide receivers projected for this spot, and it's not a good pick for us, so why would we do that? Unfortunately, I don't have any running backs at the top here, but I will say Judkins I have at 69, a little bit behind Laporta. So Judkins will be an option for us after this. But yeah, no other running back I have projected ahead of Laporta. It's Judkins. It is Swift at 1 point behind Judkins. It is Caleb in that general range. Aaron Jones was drafted, and then Tony Pollard. So that's kind of what we're looking at there. I feel like I want to go with Laporta. If I have him 7 spots behind average ADP, I've kind of baked in, J-Mo having a good season, obviously. Amon-Ra St. Brown having a good season, a ton of targets going to the running backs, like a ton of carries going there. I have that all baked in and behind ADP, and he still kind of comes out as the top player here. In this deeper format as well, it could definitely be beneficial to my team if, Laporta, because when healthy last season, Laporta had very good numbers. When injured, he had not so good numbers. Maybe he goes back to that those healthy numbers. Maybe he does kind of challenge that top end at tight end, and I got a much better discount than a lot of these teams, taking, around 2 tight end, around 3 tight end. I'm getting late round 5. There's a lot less opportunity cost at that pick. So I think I go Laporta. And I think I take one of those running backs because one of them will be available to me at the next pick. And I don't risk it with Laporta not being there at the next one. Okay. We take Laporta. We see Mahomes and Pacheco go off the board. I wouldn't touch Pacheco in a full PPR format. I'm pretty behind ADP on Pacheco this season. Okay, so we take tight ends. We are obviously not going to take another tight end after this. We will tell the system that we took a tight end. Again, running back screaming here, hey, please draft a running back. Please don't draft tight end. And it's still saying kind of wait on quarterback because, again, there's a lot of good quarterbacks, so I want to get that at value. They have Monty. Oh, wait. I thought Montgomery was drafted. Huh. I thought Dave Montgomery was drafted. Montgomery is my top projected at 62. He actually was a better pick than Sam Laporta there, but only by a little bit. Basically, I mean, 62 versus 65, not too much. And maybe I would have gone with him at that pick, but Dave Montgomery is the top running back here and is the person that we should be drafting. Top 80, whatever it's top by ADP and top in the rankings, it makes you feel good drafting that player. Okay, teams coming together. I'll put the team over here so you guys can see that. Running backs, McCaffrey and David Montgomery, who had more receptions than you would think he had last season. Locked in role. And I don't care about stacking him at Laporta. Obviously, it's a good offense. If I'm going to stack anyone, it's going to be Detroit. Nico, Marvin Harrison Jr., Devonta Adams at 2 wide receiver spots and a flex. Sam Laporta at 10. That's a very, very good start. I mean, I would be okay with this as like a 12-team league. So the fact that we're in 14 right now, I think we're doing really, really good. Let's tell the system that we agreed. We drafted that running back. Again, you guys can get this. The app is free. This is under the premium content of the app. Wide receiver and running back, yeah, that makes sense to us. Quarterback starting to be a little bit more of an option for us. I think that makes sense. I think because I'm honestly in my mind, I'm considering McCaffrey our first round pick. So I'm saying we're going with kind of a semi-hero build right now. One name that definitely sticks out here, unfortunately, I didn't mention who got drafted, but unfortunately the running backs we wanted got drafted. Like literally Caleb, Tony Pollard, Swift, Judkins got drafted, and then Najee got thrown in as well. A lot of quarterbacks go off the board. Love, Bo Nix, Kyler, Herbert, Fields. It's unlikely we go quarterback at this one. And then a decent amount of wide receivers. Not going to list them all. No crazy names there. Adunze ended up being a pretty good value at 608 for the team that got him. Pittman at 701 I like. Really 605 was solid, but I mean, no one was weird in those picks. So the name I said that stands out is Jaylen Warren at this pick. I think has the upside to be that receiving back. I am a little bit worried that we're going to see Caleb Johnson kind of take that early down workload, a lot of it. But there is a lot to go around. I mean, obviously, Najee had 1 million touches on that team. He's gone, so there's plenty to go there. And, Caleb Johnson is not taking receiving work. Like, he is not a pass catching back. They're not going to ask him to do that. That is not a concern for us. So Warren's going to have that role. I just think he's a really talented player. And if Caleb Johnson ends up not winning all of that early down role, you can have an increase on the ground and a great increase in the receiving game for Warren being all of that receiving workload. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of upside. Plus, you had quarterbacks that didn't really check down as much last season. Aaron Rodgers is perfectly willing to lock in on Jaylen Warren and kind of take those dump offs there. I don't know. I think Jaylen Warren makes a lot of sense for us here. If we're looking at wide receiver, definitely Jaden Reed, Darnell Mooney. Those are probably the top end. You guys know I like Agbuka, Golden. I mean, that's a ridiculous ADP. Again, we have rookies bumped up, so I'm sure he'll be drafted ahead of that. But that's absurd to think that Golden should be going after like DeAndre Hopkins, Wandale, Leggett. Like, that's ridiculous to kind of have that in there. But yeah, Jaden Reed and Mooney are pretty clearly the top two. So I would say if we can get Warren, who I think is far and away the best running back pick here, take Warren, hope to get one of Reed or Mooney at the next pick, and then maybe we go to quarterback and maybe we double dip at the quarterback position after that. The quarterback options are Goff, Caleb, Purdy, Dak, May, Stroud, Lawrence, Stafford. I wouldn't really go with Tua, but McCarthy, Bryce Young, Penix, Geno. I probably wouldn't want to be landing on anything after that. So still plenty on the board that we like. So let's go Warren here. We'll draft Warren. Looks like Reed goes off the board along with Brian Robinson Jr., but we're able to get Darnell Mooney, so we'll take him, and we will see what happens after that. So again, I'm liking how this team's turning out. Running backs, McCaffrey, David Montgomery, Jalen Warren, and then we've got Nico, Marv, Adams, and Mooney at wide receiver. So we have one bench spot filled. We've got the two flex spots being Adam Warren. Obviously, we've got Laporta at tight end. So we need a quarterback. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bench spots left. I don't think a quarterback even went off the board after that pick. Again, I bumped it up to high. I'm hoping they start to take a second quarterback. This would be a range where I'd be a little bit more concerned that teams would be. So we will see. I tried to bump it up to high. We'll see if the computer does that. But yeah, Andrews and Jonnu go, and Njoku as well at tight end. A lot of running backs come off the board. So good that we locked in Jalen Warren at that pick, because my goodness, the top running backs are all handcuffs. I mean, we've got Ray Davis, Benson that we like. Urendo, obviously, are handcuffed to McCaffrey, who's probably not a bad pick for us to make at this spot. But man, we start to get into the really handcuffs range for running back. So good that we locked in Jalen Warren at that last pick. Honestly, I wouldn't go quarterback at these two. Seeing how much running back drops off, seeing like wide receivers, fine. I mean, if you want to take a shot on Keon Coleman, honestly, at this point, I'd be fine with that. Keon Coleman, Marquise Brown, Cedric, Romeo Dobbs. Honestly, Bateman's probably one of the better picks to make here. Quentin is a fine pick. Marvin Mims, but he gets a little bit hurt in full PPR. Leggett. We did see, where did he end up going? So Golden does go. He goes at 902. Again, that's good that we bumped up rookies because some of those ADPs are obscene. DeMario, but again, those are kind of like later picks. I feel like we have to lock in a running back. Like if I was going to go quarterback and wide receiver here and wait again at running back, like I'm fearful that like our options would be like Justice Hill, Antonio Gibson, Nick Chubb. And that can't be our fourth running back. I think we got to lock in a fourth running back that's a little bit better than that. I'm hesitating on if I want to draft two. I know that sounds crazy because there are some options later. Like I like Marshawn. Jaden Blue. Oh, I would take Jaden Blue here. Yeah. I didn't realize he was at that spot. Definitely not a lock to be their top guy. And realistically, you could go after Miles Sanders later. But I think Jaden Blue is the best running back on that team. And to lock him in, I think, yeah, that's a no question. No question. I think you have to go. Have to go Jaden Blue with this one. And again, I think there's a world where you take two running backs this spot. We took one. It's not going to want us. Actually, we took the one. We didn't put everything in here. Then we took a wide receiver. Then we took another running back, which it didn't want us. Oh, actually, positive there. Took another running back. I don't think it's going to want us to go running back here. Yeah, it's saying don't go running back. Take a wide receiver or a quarterback. I'm just a little bit fearful of what we're going to be left with. But I understand what the math is saying there. You know, did Bateman go? Yeah, Bateman and Marquise Brown go, which are actually two that I would have been looking at this pick. So I would honestly say you probably want to just take a shot on Keon. I know I don't like him that much, but you take a shot on a first round wide receiver this late in this deep of a format, saying maybe he hits on the upside, because I still like Keon ahead of. It'd be tough with Mims. I'm curious what I have between those two. Go a lot later in the rankings at this point. I have Keon at 131.8 and Mims at 131.1, and those are the top two in the rankings. So again, I'm off Keon, but he's top in the rankings here. I have like Ray Davis, Urendo right in that range. Basically, the choice is, do you draft Urendo as the handcuff and then basically say, excuse me, I probably only need at most one running back. I can hope maybe to get Marshawn Lloyd a little bit later. But hope to go running back, probably quarterback after that. Then we're probably still going to have some wide receivers we feel okay about. I think that's probably better. I think running back's going to drop off too much for us. I'm going to go away from the math at this pick, and I'm going to grab a handcuff. I'm just going to say lock in the starting running back on San Fran. I know they have, is it like Jordan James or something that people somewhat like, and I think has talent, but I think it's more beneficial to just say handcuff McCaffrey. If he gets hurt, it's more likely that Guerrero is going to be that backup. Just secure it. Secure the backup in the deeper format at that early of the pick. Okay. If I hadn't drafted Nico, I would say that Jaden Higgins is a glaring value at this spot. He probably still is. I mean, I have him at 126. We're at 153. I don't even have it that close. Like, he's far and away my top projected player, just like looking through all of this. I'm going to start everyone that I would be okay drafting, not necessarily at this pick, but for our last like 4. I already started Dobbs and Quentin. I guess Wando in a full PPR league. Leggett, Douglas, Palmer, Keenan, Jaden Higgins. I would prefer Pat over Vele. I don't know if Pat has not been drafted yet. Pat Bryant. Jalen Royals really late. Ellick has been performing a little bit in camp right now. That's what I'd be looking at. I would say, so yeah, the computer's still not drafting those like backups. I would say that like in a hometown league, there's no way I'd have to take a quarterback at this spot. But what I would probably do if this was the board is I would say, honestly, we go Marshawn Lloyd. That's our last running back, because I look at some of these running backs and I don't like what I see. So take Marshawn Lloyd as last running back. Take the top quarterback, and then 3 wide receivers to close things out, and then defense. That's probably how I would do it, because I do see like there's a ton of wide receivers that are basically the same. I wouldn't get Jaden Higgins if I didn't have Nico. I would say go after Jaden Higgins at this pick, but because I have Nico, it's not as strong. So I would say go Marshawn Lloyd. Who even is top quarterback? I'll pull up just the quarterback rankings for us here. I have Caleb at pick 85, and we are at pick 156. So I don't like how that system does that. I'm pretty sure in my mock draft simulator on the app, the computer will just start taking the extra quarterbacks at this spot, which it should. But I have Caleb, then Dak, then Goff. I have Fields in there, but Fields got drafted way earlier. So we'll take Caleb. Obviously it's a steal. Your system should be drafting quarterbacks earlier. I literally told to draft quarterbacks earlier, but that's why I didn't want to put very, very, very early at the top, because it would just be taking quarterbacks in like round 1. It's like, well, that's not what I mean. I mean draft quarterbacks after that. But anyways, we go Lloyd, we go quarterback, and then I think 3 wide receivers. So we do not need a running back at this point. Because we drafted Laporta, I don't think we'd have to go with the backup tight end. So I would probably go Wandale in a full PPR league. I mean, he had 100 receptions last year. We probably shouldn't forget that. I would probably go Palmer after that, just potentially getting that outside wide receiver on the Bills. And then I would probably say Pat Bryant. If you wanted to go Isaiah Likely at this pick, that's actually probably a really good one. That's a strong value at tight end. Pat Bryant, unlikely to make my starting lineup. I really like him as a prospect. I think he's got a lot of upside this season, even like in full PPR. He could really excel in that team. And I mean, he could be the second best pass catcher on that team if things really work out for him. Like, Sean Payton really likes him. But it probably makes more sense for us to say, okay, I like Likely. I like Jatavian Sanders, honestly, this season. I like Jawan. But if I'm looking at free agency, if Laporta got injured, and I'm not liking that much. So I would say grab Isaiah Likely. Just grab someone who's going to be very involved this season, going to be a solid backup tight end. Just kind of secure that. And then, again, I have not looked at defense. I don't know. I mean, sure. I just take the top defense. I don't actually know, like, schedule-wise. Like, that's what it would be looking at. Do we have a schedule out on Fantasy Pros? No, they're not going to do that for us. I was hoping they would just show us like early weeks. I should do that soon. I'll look early week matchups for each team and just see who's playing pathetic defenses, but haven't done that yet. So we'll just go with Detroit Lions, maybe getting healthy this season. All right. I think this turned out really, really well. For a 14-team league, this is very solid. I think we'll probably want it right there. Starting lineup: Caleb Williams, Christian McCaffrey, David Montgomery, Nico, Marvin Harrison Jr., Sam Laporta, Devonta Adams, Jalen Warren, and the Detroit Lions. And then the bench, looking at Mooney, Jaden Blue, Isaac Urendo, Marshawn Lloyd, Wandale, Palmer, and Likely. I think I like that strategy of saying, okay, we waited on running back a little bit that spot. Running back was going to fall off. Grab our shots on some upside guys we like because we're going to have some okay options. It's not like these are amazing wide receivers, but the wide receivers I know are going to have a role this season, going to be fine. And the running back to that point were not going to be anything. And I think it made sense grabbing that backup tight end. We'll see if I show up on the thing here. What I also realized for expert opinions, if you guys ever look, what Fantasy Pros does is they accept half PPR rankings and then they just go in and adjust for full PPR and standard. Theoretically, I'm allowed to go in and adjust those, but I don't. So number one, if you're like paying for Fantasy Pros and you like playing full PPR and you want to like access my rankings in some way, you're not actually getting my rankings. You're getting what they think my rankings might be, which is also why when you're looking at scores, sometimes you can see like I might show up as a team that hates it, but it's like, well, these aren't my full PPR rankings. If you're doing standard, those aren't my standard rankings. Superflex, those aren't my Superflex rankings. Like they're just guessing as to what they're going to be based on half PPR. If you want my actual rankings, you go to the website and those are my projections and my rankings. So it's also something to consider when you're doing these drafts and you see like, oh, that's weird that this person might be ranked lower or higher in like full PPR than you would think. It's because Fantasy Pros does weird math on their back end and that's what they feed in. People aren't actually giving them full PPR rankings. Hope that makes sense. If you use full PPR, I really wouldn't pay for Fantasy Pros and use their stuff because that's not real. It's not what people are actually putting out there. If you're playing full PPR, go to my website, thefantasyfootballadvice.com, use those rankings because also you can use it on the app. The app is so much easier now. Like when I'm like, people are asking me questions and they're like, oh, what do you have for like Dynasty? The ability to just pull out the app and just be like, boom, there's Dynasty. If you guys want to see, hey, there's the rookie rankings. If you guys want to see the high end of the rookie rankings, that's what they exactly are right now. If you want to see player notes, you can click it and you can see player notes. Like there's a lot in here and then you can draft. If you're in your like full PPR league, these are actually what I'm thinking. You want to draft these players, you want to cross these players off. Boom. It's very easy to draft. Of course, I didn't like reset the draft in this one. Probably should have. But it's very easy to draft based on the phone, and it'll stay in there when you kind of leave it. Again, draft simulator, we have the trade calculator. We've got a lot of stuff in the app. Again, those stuff are premium, but if you want to do the players tab for drafting players, if you want to do mock drafting on here, maybe one day we will do kind of a mock draft on the app here, but a lot of stuff for free on the app. So definitely check it out. App's completely free to download. So that'll do it for this one. Thank you all for watching. We've got Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday videos coming to you this week, and also a Tuesday live stream tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Eastern. Come to that with any question you have. I will answer all of them on stream. That'll do it for this one, though. Leave a like if you're still here, and thanks for watching.